A vow. How many generations, how many civilizations have been crushed under the weight of this word? But what if a single vow determined the fate of an entire civilization? One dwelling 7 layers beneath the earth. Today, we will not just tell you a fairy tale, we bring you the whisper of the Mythical Empire, an ancient civilization founded in the heart of Tarsus thousands of years ago, deep beneath the soil. This is the story of a queen, Shahmeran, the one whose body was a serpent, whose heart was human, and who carried the secrets of the entire world in her veins, the first and only human to ever see her paradise. Shahmeran, he was a poor woodcutter. He was betrayed just to survive, but this betrayal led him to the greatest secret of the underworld. He found peace. He tasted wisdom, and he made a promise. He would never reveal it, but greed crossed the palace walls. For the cure to an illness, the blood of a queen was demanded, and Shahmeran was put to the ultimate test. He had to decide whether to protect his secret or to eternally bury the trust of all humanity. What was Shahmeran's sacrifice? How did Shahmeran pay the price for this betrayal? And most importantly, do those wise serpents beneath the earth still not know that their queen was murdered? When will that day arrive? The day Tarsus, and perhaps the whole world, awaits. Are you ready? We are drawing back the curtain. This is the story of loyalty, wisdom, and a millennium-old betrayal. The legend of Shahmeran, the lands of Anatolia. Every corner is permeated by the breath of thousands of years of civilizations. A mysterious geography woven with legends. There is one city where history flowed not towards the sky, but into the depths of the earth. Tarsus, this ancient city holds a great secret. A whisper buried 7 layers beneath the earth. This secret is the story of a wise, peaceful civilization of serpents called the Mythical. The Mythical were a wise race who built their civilization in the dark and humid vaults of Tarsus thousands of years ago. They were not the cold-blooded, feared snakes we know. They were intelligent, compassionate beings who carried the knowledge of all living things in their veins and chose to live in peace. Their kingdom, 7 layers down, was like an emerald green and golden dream that human eyes could not perceive. And the sole ruler of this underground paradise, this unique community of Mythical, was Shahmeran. Was not just a queen, but also a goddess. Her body was a graceful serpent, but from the waist up, she was the youngest, most beautiful, and wisest woman humanity could imagine. Her gaze shone with infinite compassion and wisdom, accumulated over ages. She possessed the secret of all nature. But every legend requires a turning point. The 1,000 years of tranquility of the Mythical would intersect with a breath from the surface, with a man. The other hero of the story was a young man from a poor family. Shahmeran was an honest young man struggling with the hardships of life, earning his living by selling wood gathered from the forest. On that ordinary day when fate began to weave its web, Shahmeran and a few friends discovered a hidden cave deep in the woods. The cave held unimaginable wealth. Golden honey, so much honey, it filled the cave. At that moment, the shadow of poverty revealed the darkest side of human nature. Shahmeran, the most agile, was lowered into the pit with a rope to retrieve the honey. While he was pulling up the most precious honeycomb, his friends above calculated how much more honey they would get. Greed turned into disloyalty to get a bigger share. They silenced their consciences and abandoned Shahmeran in that dark vault, leaving him for dead, where fate had abandoned him. A light of hope appeared. Feeling the cold breath of death on his neck, Shahmeran noticed a tiny hole in the damp wall of the cave. A soft, unnatural light was leaking through the hole. Driven by the instinct to survive, he took out his rusty knife and began enlarging the hole with hours of effort. And finally, The sight behind the hole dazzled Shemshab's eyes. He had fallen from the blackened, rock-covered world of the surface into an underground paradise, 7 layers below the earth. This was the homeland of the Mythical. It was a magical garden where uniquely colorful flowers bloomed, crystal clear water flowed into pools, and thousands of serpents roamed in peace. Shemshab was filled with a fear mixed with awe. The news, spreading like a whisper, soon reached Shahmeran. The queen listened to Shemshab's story, the betrayal he suffered, and strangely, she did not judge him. Perhaps the Queen of Serpents had witnessed such human weaknesses for millennia. Shahmeran allowed Shemshab to stay in the underworld. From that day on, Shemshab's captivity in the underground world turned into an unexpected journey of learning and peace. Shemshab lived for many years in that magical garden with the Mythical. Under Shahmeran's guidance, he learned the secrets of the world and nature. He became the greatest confidant of the serpents. The queen trusted this young man, opening every corner of her kingdom to him and sharing her wisdom. However, time flowed even in the underworld. A boundless longing for his family began to grow in Shemshab's heart. Even in this peaceful paradise, he could not resist the call of his roots on the surface. One day, he stood before the queen. With tears in his eyes, his voice trembling, he explained how much he missed his family and begged to leave. The sorrow on Shahmeran's face was like the reflection of an ancient pain. Yet, her heart softened. "I will set you free, Shemshab," the queen said, "but I ask for one single promise from you. You must never reveal the location of our home or my existence to anyone under any circumstances, not even at the cost of your life." Shemshab swore the most sacred of oaths. He promised. And with Shahmeran's wisdom and love, he returned to the surface. For years, he faithfully kept his word. He never spoke a single word about that well, that garden, or that queen to anyone. But fate was to knock on Tarsus's door once again. The country's sultan fell ill with an unknown, incurable disease. It was then that the palace's power-hungry and cruel vizier recalled an old, feared prophecy. The sultan's only cure was to eat the flesh of the legendary heralds were immediately sent throughout the country. There was only one person who knew the location of Shahmeran. Shemshab. Shemshab could not break his promise. He resisted, but the vizier showed his cruelty. Shemshab was tested with torture, threats, and the lives of his loved ones. The legend says that Shemshab hid for a while, but at some point, an unmistakable spot appeared on his body, shining like serpent scales. This spot was a sign that he had made contact with the underworld. The vizier saw this sign and knew that Shemshab knew Shahmeran's location. The pressure became unbearable. Shemshab was helpless. He surrendered. With tears streaming down his face, he led the vizier and the soldiers to that cursed well. The ancient vow of a millennium had been broken to save a human life. Shahmeran, knowing she had been betrayed, was calm. When she was brought out by the soldiers, there was neither anger nor fear in her eyes, only an immeasurable disappointment and noble acceptance. She looked at Shemshab one last time. In her eyes, there was the question, "Did you keep your promise?" The answer, sadly, was no. Even in the face of this final and greatest betrayal, Shahmeran chose to show mercy to humanity. She transformed her death into a final testament. "Boil me in an earthenware pot," she said with her last breath. "Give the water to the vizier to drink, and feed the flesh to the sultan." These words were the queen's final act of wisdom. He who ate her flesh would gain her knowledge and cure. He who drank the water would drink her poison, the price of his greed and malice. The command was carried out. The vizier, in his greed and haste for the queen's power, drank the poisonous water without hesitation and died instantly. The sultan, however, ate the healing flesh, and recovered. The Sultan forgave Sem. He declared this wise man, who saved his country and life, to be his new vizier. Shemshab reached the highest office, but at the cost of his queen's death. The weight of this position and the voice of his conscience would never leave him throughout his life. And the most terrifying, most enduring part of the legend begins here. Shahmeran had been murdered. However, the Moran in the underworld do not know that their queen is dead. According to the legend, they believe she is on a journey and will return one day. It is rumored that the fate of Tarsus and all humanity depends on the Meran discovering the truth. When that day comes, when the Meran learn that their beloved queen was betrayed and killed by a human, their wisdom will turn into revenge. They will flood the surface from 7 layers below the earth and demand the price for humanity's centuries-old betrayal. It is rumored that Tarsus will one day be invaded by those wise serpents. The legend of Shahmeran does not just offer us a fantastical story. It holds up a mirror. It shows the place of loyalty, faithfulness, greed, and betrayal in human nature. Shemshab is neither good nor bad. He is a tragic figure, a man who broke his word out of desperation but still rose to power through his queen's sacrifice. So, when do you think the Maran will learn the truth? And is Tarsus truly ready for that great serpent invasion? Until we meet in the next legend, stay wise, and may your secrets be safe.